Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming down. I know it's relatively late in the day if you've had a long night last night. I hear it was a bit fun. Thanks for coming down to our eSports chat. My name is Roisin. I actually work for Fnatic, which is one of the world's biggest eSports organizations. I am a last-minute addition to the panel, but I'm moderating, so it's okay. So we are hopefully going to shed some light on esports, the link to football. Obviously, you're all aware of what's happening, but we want to go into a little bit of more depth for you guys. Hopefully, answer some of your questions, and also I think inspire you to maybe explore some options within esports. I've got a great panel with me today. Slightly biased in that I have one colleague from Fnatic on the panel also, but I have Colin Johnson from Fnatic, Frederic Maupin from Ares, and Pablo Ortiz from Deportivo, but from I want you all to introduce yourselves, actually. Yeah. So, Colin, do you want to go?
Yeah. My name's Colin Johnson, as Roisin said. I work for Fnatic, but I am kind of the connective tissue between Fnatic and AS Roma and the relationship that we have with our FIFA team. So currently my day-to-day duties are kind of the day-to-day operations of the team, as well as making sure that both Fnatic and AS Roma are kind of satisfied with the way the organization is moving and the way the team is operating.
I'm Frédéric Maupin, I'm French, so apologize for the accent. I'm working for RS, or at least like many eSport players, I'm in transition to get the general management of this startup. We are a startup based in Paris, founded a few months ago, and what we aim to do is to set up a tournament to get as many. It's like gold finding. You know, you get the latest, the biggest one. You shake, and to detect the best golden nuggets available on the esports market.
Hi, I'm Pablo Ortiz, and working for Deportivo Alavés, that is a football club. And then we in the organization, we also have a basketball team in EuroLeague level called Baskonia, and also an eSport club called Baskonia eSports. And then I'm very proud to say that we are the current champions in Spain of League of Legends. So we are very happy with the project right now.
Cool. So we have a nice mix of rights holders, basically. What I want to start with, what I'd be interested to know from the audience from the start is where you guys are from. So are you from clubs? Anyone? Agencies who are interested in esports and football? Anything else that kind of you're from, organizations that would be slightly interesting to these guys in terms of why you're here talking about esports? Anyone want to add? No, okay, just football clubs and agencies. Okay, cool. All right, well, one of the biggest drawing points is the numbers in esports. It's kind of hard to ignore now. Anyone who works in sport, it's all about engagement. It's about increasing those revenues. Within esports, it's really hard to ignore. We have huge numbers, viewing figures, streamers, online gamers. In terms of FIFA, it's not the biggest game in esports. Colin, do you want to maybe talk a little bit about what is FIFA in the scope of esports? Where does it sit?
Yeah, so up until about 2 or 3 years ago, we would probably consider ourselves like a third-tier esport. I would probably say there's a solid 3 tiers to esport. And we were definitely closer to the bottom, not only because of people not watching us, but the money just wasn't there. Just for example, the 2016 FIFA Interactive World Cup Grand Finals, the grand prize for that was $20,000, and that's like our World Cup equivalent. This year it was $200,000, so you can kind of see right there the growth that we've seen. But in regards to viewership comparatively to other esports like Counter-Strike, League of Legends, the ones you guys already know about, our numbers aren't there necessarily, but I think that's more so because it's spread among so many different places. People consume the content in so many different ways because you can consume FIFA esports on Facebook Live, on YouTube Gaming, on Twitch, and as well as all of the broadcast deals that have been coming out recently, what with the beIN Sports deal in France or the ESPN deal for the EA Foot Championship Series. It's definitely growing, and EA is positioning the game in a way that it's definitely esports focused, and the viewership is definitely trending more so towards getting the pro gamers in front of as many eyes as possible. So I feel like if EA's main focus is making that happen, then it's going to happen eventually. It's just waiting for it to catch on a little bit, as well with the main viewership for FIFA. Just as an example, on YouTube, we're like the third or fourth biggest game for games that are consumed on YouTube. And mainly that content is more so casual. It's like pack openings, it's squad builders, it's different like challenges and stuff. But over the past year, we've seen a trend where the casual content has kind of gone down a little bit and the competitive content has been on the upturn. So the game has definitely been growing a lot. And I think that FIFA 18 and the way that EA has positioned it, it's only going to get bigger. So
I want to talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, sure.
But so with you, Fred, in terms of the games that your organization are involved with, you are going into FIFA.
We do because we have a native base of football players supporting us. We've got a supporting cast with 10 professional players, and naturally they play FIFA. They want a FIFA team with them, and what we can do is to bring their mediatic exposure to the game. So what we try to do is to get as many people as possible joining us for the tournament, and then when you reach the last round of qualification, and when you get to win this tournament, you'll have to join our professional team. So FIFA team as well, but
Okay.
not only FIFA team. We've managed to organize this tournament on 7 games, but just to be honest, the football players, they all want to be the ambassador of the FIFA team.
Right. So you're as an organization, you're motivated by the FIFA element of what you can do.
We know it's not the major game on Twitch. It's like we were talking about. It's 1 out of 10 against League of Legends. But the fact that big games player like AS Roma, we've met a lot of people here coming from clubs I can't mention, but they're looking forward to have their own FIFA team. They're looking forward to structure the game. And what we can help with them is that we can provide good players, maybe not as good as Fnatic ones, but we'll try to challenge you,
Okay.
say you,
Bring it on.
in the years to come.
So Pablo, in terms of what you guys are doing as a football club and a basketball club, it would be the assumption that you would probably have a FIFA team.
Well, the first thing I would like to say is we have to make a difference between gaming and eSports. Normally, the concept is a bit diffuse. In my opinion, in our opinion, if you have an audience, if people is watching, then it's eSports. If not, it's gaming. So there is a lot of publishers that making games that they want to have a eSport game that everybody plays in a competitive way the game. But not all of them get him. So the reality is we are playing in the games that we think that the people and the audience is watching to. So in my opinion, in our opinion, today we don't have a big competitive sport game. Like it's not in basketball. Football, the audience are growing. It depends on the new version of the game. the new FIFA or the new versions and everything. But today, it's in the edge of this line. There is like 8 or 10 games that we prioritize before FIFA.
So as an organization then, you guys got into esports about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Why?
It's a good question. The reason that we get in is because there is a way to bring new people to our brands, to be closer to Baskonia, to be closer to Alaves, to get more fan base around, to a specific target that we don't get very easy, then it's easy to get from another ways, that the brands, our sponsor, are not able to go to these people. So then we give them a possibility to reach this target in another field, in another sport. We don't necessarily need that these followers or these fans comes to football or comes to basketball. We just have 3 divisions, and we're happy that our fans move free from one to the other.
Right, so you have an extra group of fans to your, and also an extra way for your sponsors to activate, and hopefully another revenue stream as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so in terms of one of the things about esports, and if you're not in it, a lot of brands, a lot of sports organizations worry about the violence in some of the titles. Some of the biggest titles, for example, CSGO, is the good guys versus the terrorists, and you kill each other, and then you switch places. You become the terrorists and the good guys and whatever. FIFA is obviously a safe bet. Football is consumed all over the world. It's inclusive. It's all of that. It's safe for brands and investors. How would a sports body tackle the idea of these violent games versus FIFA? Should they be just considering FIFA because it's safe, or should they be considering the CSGOs and all of those, Call of Duty and all of those others? Colin, what do you think?
To start, it's obviously easier to just go with FIFA. I feel like to kind of get down the strategy that you want to implement, you definitely need to talk to your brands, your sponsors, the different stakeholders that are involved, because say you have American owners or something like that, and then the situation in America is a little bit tense right now when it comes to terrorism, and obviously in Europe right now, in the UK as well. So I think you just have to be really careful the way you position the content that you create around the game as well, and maybe put the players forward more so than the actual gameplay, because when you really break the game down, it is genuinely terrorists killing a counter-terrorist force and the other way around. So FIFA is definitely the easiest way for clubs to get involved at first, and then maybe expand into other games is the way I would do it. But I know Pedro has a different opinion on that a little bit. So.
You have a very interesting opinion on that, actually.
Well, the reality is Call of Duty is, I think, is #1 played game in the world, and it's a gun game. And the question would be if the kids can play this or not. The reality they're doing. Even the target of this game is they're even younger than the average of eSport. So for us, if you have the society is playing this game, everybody accepting, and it is a professional game around it, we play it because it's what these people is doing.
And then, so Fred, for you, you see it as an opportunity, really. Yes, you have a terrorist game or fighting violence games, but what you don't want is to promote that. You want to promote the bigger picture.
Yeah. People often forget that during Olympic Games in the back 500 years, people were punching faces with metal plates tied with laser. So I guess everything is changing. Like Colin said, it's easier for us to promote to brand a content that is safe, that is almost ready for ICO. When you get to the chance to be on Olympic Games, it's okay for a brand to join that. But as we try to address both recreative players and e-gamers, we have to focus again and also on the most violent games. Say violence, it's virtual violence. No one proved ever that virtual violence led to physical and real violence. It's okay. Like it's been said, society is like that. We have a business.
Yeah.
We run a business. We try to make opportunities, but we have some ethical borders we won't cross. I mean, when you've got League of Legends, 100 millions active players, when you've got Call of Duty or CS go with 50 millions active player, you can just put your hands on the front of your eyes and say, no, they don't exist, they don't want to be there. It's okay, they've got endemic brand they can address. We will address them, but also we try to get in the middle way, try to speak to everybody.
Yeah.
That's a very balanced challenge, but that's the way we made up our business plan.
So, I mean, basically, FIFA isn't the biggest game. It's not where all of the viewers are. It's not where we see all the hundreds of millions of people watched whatever final, the League of Legends final. As a football club or a sports body going into esports, to reach those numbers, it seems you have to go into those other titles. That's where the audience lives. In terms of the audience, the average gamer, and like you mentioned, Pablo, a gamer, most esports fans are also gamers. They invest a lot of time and money in their systems. But these are predominantly male, young.
Is the one?
Yeah, Colin is an
Yeah.
example of what an esports fan looks like.
Thanks.
But so it is quite a young audience, and it's a key target audience that we all want to reach in football. But we're struggling to. So esports is actually where the rest of that audience sits. Do you find that with FIFA there's a slightly different audience to the mainstream esports audience, Colin?
Yeah, no, definitely. The thing about people that play FIFA is that most of the people that I know that play FIFA usually just play FIFA or the other kind of casual titles, as we would call them, because there are people that call themselves gamers, and then there are people that play video games. I feel like there are people, like I'm a gamer, right? I don't just play FIFA, I play FIFA, I play CSGO, I play PUBG, I play all of the games, But people that play FIFA, especially the people that play casually, mainly just play that game, or maybe they'll play FIFA and Madden and maybe Call of Duty, kind of those core titles. So yeah, it's definitely its own audience, but in my opinion at least, it's probably bigger, that casual audience, if you can appeal to that entirety of that casual audience that just plays FIFA because maybe they support Liverpool and they want to go play a career mode with Liverpool or something like that, that kind of audience is their own little ecosystem. There's obviously crossover. Like, I'm not saying that everyone that plays FIFA only plays FIFA, but a predominant amount of them, and from what I've seen working in the content space in FIFA, definitely it's kind of, they stay in their bubble. Like all of our professional gamers at AEY0ih and Fnatic, they primarily just play FIFA, or they'll just play FIFA and Call of Duty. So they kind of stick to their core titles.
Okay, and Pablo, your audience, do you find that the audience of the esports team have come from your football club, or they move over to the football club? Are they also football fans?
Not necessarily. So we have football. It's curious because when you give your name to eSports, your fan base of, in this case, basketball, because our team, eSport team is Baskonia eSport, all Baskonia fans, in a way, follow the results if we're winning or losing and these kind of things. So you have a kind of attention that maybe some of them learn about the game, and most of them not. But at the end, it's you get these new people, young people inside of your environment that sooner or later they can move from e-sport to traditional sport or not. Mm-hmm. So there's not
who knows? Fred, the people who will sign up to your league are casual gamers or pretty decent gamers who have an aspiration to become a pro gamer.
We know we'll find both. we've got some pro gamers or good amateur level players looking for contracts because we offer something the market don't offer for middle level players. We know we can reach the salaries we were talking about, like 2,000 grants or something. We can face that, but we'll address these casual players, but also the professional ones looking for a little stability in a world that lacks some.
Yeah.
And that's the way we think we can achieve something new, but it's like a challenge.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yeah. So, and obviously you mentioned you have a number of professional footballers who have invested in this.
Yeah. The
Will
first
any of them compete
sorry.
to become a pro gamer? Any career changes?
No, no. The first two ones banking up for RS were Sofiane Feghouli, playing in Turkey, and Moussa Sissoko. They're, in fact, they're gamer, they're occasional gamers. Okay, it's not like they've been. They're not Neymar. Like he's got his own e-game squad.
Yeah.
There are NBA players that bought a squad from e-game players. They're not that kind of player. They're casual. They're teasing each other when they meet in a team of friends, but they know it's native for them. They're still young players. They're still young, and when you get to meet your friends, they're like casual. Say, okay, take a FIFA, take a Counter-Strike, and the way they look at RS is not only an investment. They want to grow the thing. They want to put a light on this particular movement because it's their generation. You talked about 18 to 35-year-old average gamer. That's the target.
Yeah.
Because they're right into it.
And those players will act as mentors to these potential pro gamers.
Yeah, and there's a lot of similarity between e-gamers and pro footballers. There's somehow they just taken from home and put in an environment where money is just quite easy. When you pay nothing because you're provided a home, you're provided a taxi driver, you're provided a medical insurance, and the mistakes they can avoid, the mistakes they avoided, they will mentor our team to avoid that too. We know it's pretty unstable world, and the pro gamers have maybe some of them can last until 25, 30, but most of them have a short career. And what we'll aim to do is to help them make a good career, if they can make a living out of it, but to prepare the next step of their life. Too.
Okay. So in that, obviously working at Fnatic, we have a whole roster of professional gamers around the world who have professional contracts. There's a transfer market. There's all of that. For you, Pablo, you obviously have a structure in place for your football club and your basketball club. Your eSports team, did they get these benefits also? Like, did they have a nutritionist? Did they have a psychologist?
Yeah, we treat them like a professional club, like professional sportmen. They have the facilities, they have all the services around the club, mental coach and everything. Nutritionist is taking longer because the menu they use is not very often
pizza.
As healthy.
And Colin, obviously with AS Roma, Fnatic AS Roma players are scattered. They're not in one place like Pablo's team. Do you get the benefits of a AS Roma professional football club, even though the guys are scattered, or could you?
If we were in Rome, they would be more than willing to offer those services, but because we're not, it's much harder for that to happen. But they do receive other benefits, of being a part of AS Roma. They've all been to Rome, they've all met, the club president, they've all, met Raja Nainggolan and Edin Dzeko and all the top players there, and have had built relationships. Our Italian player goes there all the time and, was at their training camp and, has made videos with Florenzi and, a lot of our De Rossi and all of kind of the storied players at Roma. But when it comes to like the nutritionists and all that kind of stuff, until we kind of get a base camp set up, whether that be in Rome or somewhere else, it's harder to definitely take full advantage of those benefits.
Yeah.
So.
And do you think it's required for an esports team to have that kind of structure like another professional sports team?
No, not at all. You can most teams right now. I think actually every single team that has a FIFA team right now doesn't have a team house for that team, so there isn't that structure in place. But I think in the future that will definitely come about, especially as more money keeps coming into the esport and as more teams come in, everyone's going to want to one-up each other. So if we were to get a base camp or something, I'm sure PSG would then come out and try and build one as well. So, but yeah, no, it's been interesting.
Yeah. So Fred, you plan for once you have your pro team roster that they will have a gaming house.
Yeah, a gaming house by game. So we try to achieve that. It costs a lot of money. We're okay with that. The localization is not yet determined. The fact is that we believe that when you pretend to be a sport player, you got to act like a sport player.
Yeah.
So you got to get fit. You got to avoid too many late night parties. And the fact is, when you prove your value when playing, it's okay for little things to come. But we try to. The mentors, they will bring that. Okay, the football players, they just can't be what they were when they were 15.
Before, yeah, exactly.
When you enter the professional world, you get constrained. It's okay, but you're professional and you paid for that.
Yeah.
So you've got to take the world package. You can just say, okay, take the money and still have parties. That can be done this way.
Well, so Pablo, speaking about like the professional contracts and the business model as a whole going into esports, it's not like any other sports industry. We spoke earlier about the cost of running a club. Operationally, it's relatively the same year on year, depending on any big major investments around infrastructure or whatever. And salaries in football and other sports, obviously go up every year, we know. But in esports, operational costs and salaries and everything else seems to go up every single year. So how have you guys found it as an investment? Is it all rosy? Is it all big numbers?
Well, we take advantage of the structure we have for the classic sports, like administration, marketing, sales team, communication. So we have some synergies in there, and then it's a question of market. Now the salaries are increasing because the sponsors are arriving, because the audience is growing. So at the end of the day, it's a question of size of the market. The operation of a eSport club is very similar to a normal club.
Right.
In fact, the big difference between eSport and traditional sport is that the football, nobody owns the football, or that's what we like to think. As somebody owns FIFA, somebody owns League of Legends, and somebody owns the rest of the group of the games. So you have a new player that is the publisher that owns the game and change it. We're waiting for the new version of FIFA. It's coming soon, so it's changing the game. It's a new game. It's a new version of the same game. And new games are coming, and some games are going down.
Yeah.
So the publisher is the big difference between traditional sport and sport. The managing of the club is no big difference.
So today you will have X number of teams in X number of titles, but tomorrow like, we've seen the stats on PUBG, which
Yeah.
is not even launched yet,
It's
and
huge.
there's more people watching that than anything else on Twitch. So, as an organization within esports, you need to potentially prepare to add a roster in that title, a gaming house, and everything that comes with it.
Well, the gaming, we only have gaming house for League of Legends
Right.
because the audience is 70% of the market, 75.
You can afford
In
to
in the other
invest there.
games, everybody's playing at home. So the cost of taking a new team or ban another one is very low because you just have to contract the players
Yeah.
and they're at home and
Yeah.
there's no big difference.
Right.
So for us, the cost of change from one sport to the other, from one game to the other is nothing.
Okay, so speaking of new titles and new games, obviously FIFA 18 is coming out.
Yeah.
The big issue with FIFA 17 was that it's not great to watch. It's not a great viewing experience. It's not competitive enough. Colin, you've had the pleasure of previewing it without obviously breaking your NDA. How do you feel FIFA 18 will sustain the FIFA esports position next year and beyond?
Yeah, FIFA 18 is it's great, a lot better than 17. So if you play FIFA, that should make you happy. And without saying too much, the vision of EA and what they've kind of told the teams at the top really makes us excited for next year and the way that esports is trending in general. And I'm sure, as some of the clubs here know, like I'm sure more clubs are going to be joining every month, especially rolling into FIFA 18. And there are a lot of really good players left out there. So if you do want to pick up a player, now is definitely the time. But with 18 and the way it plays, especially, because I have been able to play it multiple times now, and obviously the pre-builds are not always a complete replica, because there's usually, in the first couple weeks, there's a patch that changes the gameplay slightly. But the main issue last year was that you could literally not touch a defender and basically be able to defend. So control a central midfielder or a striker and bring them back, and then it's horrible to watch because basically the AI is playing for you, which is what no one wants to see. It doesn't really demonstrate skill as well. Defending's a lot harder now, and there's a lot more goals in the games, and so I think you're going to see the guys that are genuinely world class rise to the top this year, and people that have maybe been riding on their defensive abilities than their scoring abilities will kind of fall by the wayside a little bit. And exciting players like AS Roma's Poacher will, be at the top going into next season. But yeah, no, it's really exciting, and this title is probably the most excited I've ever been for a new FIFA. And I think it's trending more towards being a more competitive game in general. And because up until now, EA's goal was to make the most realistic simulation of football. Now their goal is to make a game that can be played competitively, where the skill gap between that guy who is world class and me, who's good at the game but not great, make it so that they can just play me off the park instead of it being a close match. Because I just played Sneaky, who's at your booth, and lost 1-0. Like, it shouldn't be like that, I should be getting skinned by those guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's exciting. And I know a lot of pros that have played the game as well, and they have agreed with my assessment thus far, and they're excited for the game just as much as I am.
So do you think FIFA will be able to compete with the likes of League of Legends when it comes to live events?
Not this year. I think in the future, definitely. But we're still scaling. It's scaling really well, obviously. I think you'll see at least probably a 100% increase in viewership and in prize pool and all of those things. So like I said, if clubs are looking to get involved right now, it's definitely the time. But I still think we're probably another 3 or 4 years off of reaching that, being able to fill stadiums and that type of viewership. But I definitely think it's on the way.
So do you think if there were clubs here, you're obviously saying you're encouraging them to get involved now in terms of time at which FIFA 18 is released, but in terms of like now versus 3 years' time, when it is more built up and there is more of a sustainable structure in place, when is the time? When is the right time?
It kind of depends on your vision. You know, if you believe in what I'm telling you, if you believe the way the game is trending right now, I think right now is definitely the time as well. There are so many good players available right now where I think in 6 months' time you'll struggle to find a top tier player that's willing to join your organization. And I think the way that you pick your player is really important as well, because some clubs, in my opinion, haven't done it necessarily the best way, because there are different ways to pick your player, whether that be you go out and you scout players and you interview players and you figure out who fits your club ethos, as well as who's the best player on paper as well. Because like we said earlier, 17 is a really hard game to judge players off of because of the skill gap and how small it was. You know, one guy can go in and win a tournament one day and then the next day lose every single game, you know? So it's very, very different. But getting involved right now is definitely, in my opinion, the best time, because you'll be able to get a top-class player for, honestly, a very, very low investment initially. It's probably the cheapest esport to get involved in my opinion, because you're only paying one player. Yeah. And you can pick up one player, or you can go like us and pick up different regions, which opens you up to a lot more tournaments and a lot more, a bigger range of prize pools. Mm-hmm. So it's just kind of like how much you want to buy into it, right. You know? So.
And how long term your vision
exactly,
is.
Yeah.
For you, Fred, it's obviously a really exciting time now, because you're currently receiving sign-ups for your leagues. You know, in terms of FIFA and what Colin says, and if he's right with his prediction of it being the start of something really great for the whole entire FIFA kind of competitive scene, it must be quite... like, was it deliberate that you did it now and not waited, or you know, you didn't do it a few years ago? Why now? Why are you doing it now?
Why now? Because maybe it's the right time. We've been monitoring the market for a while now, and when you've got players like PK trying to enroll e-gamers, when you've got Deportivo or AS Roma, and once again we've talked to a lot of football club longing to structure this game. Okay, you've talked about FIFA and not even about Pro Evolution Soccer. Mm-hmm. That means, okay, you can hide just behind. It would be FIFA or nothing. And for us, as our ambassador is just pro players, we can't even imagine not being FIFA and not being top playing FIFA team. But as you mentioned, the price is rising pretty fast. Yeah. And if you've been here beaten by Nathan, Nathan was cheap few months ago. He's not anymore. So yeah. I guess it's the right time for a mid-level organization like ours. We don't have the financial powers of AS Roma or big clubs. So if we want to be a major actor of this movement, it's right now.
Get in now while you can afford it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's important too to realize, is that right now you can pick up a player for a very inexpensive amount, but how quickly their salaries are going up from just last year to this year is incredible. So, you know, right now, the investment for you for the year might be like $20,000 or $30,000, let's just say as an example, where in 2 years it could be $100,000 to $150,000 for one player, you know? Right. So it's really like, you kind of have to decide, like, is it worth for us to get in now and kind of have a lower risk, or, you know, wait 2 years and the player might cost a lot more than you think initially. Yeah. So.
And you just missed the boat.
Yeah.
Pablo, you were going to say something.
I mean, there are many new publishers like NBA, F1. They're trying to make a eSport business around, and then they're using new version of the games. Everybody's excited. The reality is we have to wait, because now NBA is playing every week. It's a very nice new newspaper. Every morning before the match, you can play one against the other. You have a content for your Twitter account, but nothing else till now. We will see if it becomes a sport, it's become in a professional way. But today it's just a project.
Yeah.
in different
So
projects.
to finish up, I think I'd be interested to hear your predictions about, in terms of, I think we've covered the fact that football hasn't really come up much in any of this conversation. FIFA is not football; it is an esports title. So I think it's quite interesting for everyone to be quite clear on that people who are already in esports have already forgotten football. So it's a completely separate entity, and for you, Pablo, it is a separate business model to your esports model. But I think in terms of predictions ahead, like for this year and next year, in terms of esports and not just FIFA, where FIFA sits on it, how much will esports play a part in all of our lives in terms of this commercial world of sport? What do you guys see happening within the esports world that is, we talked earlier about how something is true today, tomorrow it will be completely different, there'll be something completely else. So like it's rapidly changing, and I think for each of you, you all have different views based on where you stand. So Colin, have you got any major predictions of what's going to happen in the year ahead?
I think by the end of next year, you'll probably see in the top 5, 6, 7 leagues, 75 to 80% of the clubs will probably have esports players. And I think you're already seeing every single Dutch club has an esports player. Pretty much every single French club already has an esports player. And I think that at this point, if you're a club and you're looking at esports, or if you're a brand and you're looking at esports and you're not at least considering getting involved at this point, it's a little bit silly. Just because there is so much potential and there is so much proven value in what we've done and what we can do in the future. So I think, I just think it's only going to get bigger. And I don't know, that was bad prediction, but.
Okay, Fred?
I guess it would depend on whether the football make it to the Olympics. I mean, when you've got the last FIFA Interactive World Cup, there were just like 100,000, 100,000 people watching. But if you reach to the Olympics, there will be millions, billions of people. The last World Cup, the physical World Cup, was just viewed by 1 billion people. Once you make that boost, it just the way the gameplay of FIFA is moving forward. It's like the Pixar cartoon. Once you start forgetting that you're watching a cartoon and just say, "Wow, it looks like real one."
Yeah.
That would bring the emotion to the game, and maybe that's what will move FIFA forward. As soon as people will watch a FIFA game as they would watch a football game, that would bring brand to be much more present on that one, and people to consume football like they are.
So if the IOC do decide to have football for, say, Paris 2024, do we blame you, or FIFA, I mean, do we blame you, or will you be campaigning for that?
I don't have Tony Estanguet numbers, but as soon as we can have a competitive FIFA team, that's what we want to do. But we forget a lot of bad dads, but Olympics are all about nation. So if you want to compete the Olympics, we have to have pro FIFA players representing a country.
Yeah.
That's not yet.
It's not happened, but it could.
Yeah, it's not yet on the desk.
Yeah. Pablo, predictions?
Well, I don't know which game we're gonna play, and we don't really care. What I see from the brand's point of view, that at the beginning only keyboards and mouses and headphones brands that were in place. Later on, mobile companies, IT, pizza, and fast food companies are in place. And what I'm seeing the next year that the rest of the brands will come in.
Yeah.
So we will see cars, we'll see banks, we'll see insurance company, we'll see everything.
Yeah.
Around
we
eSport.
already
it's
see
starting
it,
already.
like Audi, BMW, Gillette, they're all there
Yeah.
on a small scale, but they're starting to scale
Yeah.
up. So you feel it'll
Yeah, as
ramp
soon
up.
as they get the return,
Yeah.
they will increase the investment and everybody's going in.
Well, it's a scary space for most people, but the results are proven. It is everyone is online. They're always online, and they talk a lot. So whether you're a brand, a team, you will have ready-made people who are desperate to consume this content, and it's as much as it's pretty foreign to most of us, it's a reality, and we're just all going to have to go with it. Like when Ireland changed to the euro, we just had to adjust. If we have a little bit of time, questions we've got.
Thank you very much. Jeffrey Blossett from the Washington Redskins of the NFL and a casual Overwatch player. Thank you very much for this. My question is in regards to, I guess, our sport, Madden. Over in the United States, the Madden scene in terms of competitive esports is not really existent, and clubs have a very hard time of activating on that, or at least in a mainstream kind of sense. And we have a very hard time trying to activate, but I know there have been talks, from teams where it's like, okay, we want to activate with esports related stuff, we just don't know how. I mean, I would have ideas just because I've played and watched and things like that, but what would you recommend to, say, a club or a team that might not be ready yet to invest in creating a direct esports team, but saying activating on the esports side of things, creating content for that, really enhancing the partnership with, say, an EA Sports and a Madden, and creating something that's exciting for the fans? Like, what are some strategies that you would recommend for that?
Just some things that I've seen different clubs put into place. Like I worked a lot with Sporting Kansas City when I lived in Kansas, and some of the activations they would do would be either to kind of have their footballers like play the game and then create content through that, because the players do play the game, and there's different ways that you can get the players to engage without necessarily like signing a dedicated esports player as well. One way was they got their community engaged by, I think you've seen other clubs already do this, but put the game on site at your stadium or at your event, and then like the younger fans can come and have their own dedicated space to kind of consume your club or your team or your players in different ways, and maybe even have one of the players at that event, and then they can play with the player. And then as well, they've thrown like different independent like tournaments where maybe the prize is like game tickets instead of a contract. Those are really great ways to get your kind of younger base engaged without necessarily going out and like buying the $150 ticket or whatever. It's a great way to get them engaged, and then you can create content around that, and then your younger fans can get engaged through that way instead of necessarily going to the stadium, which isn't as prevalent as it used to be. So.
Good. You had a question?
Florence Lloyd-Hughes from SportCal. Fred's kind of made his opinions clear on this one, but I just wanted to ask the rest of the panel, you sort of touched on it, but do you think it would be a mistake for the IOC to use FIFA as its gateway to esports? And we did touch on it a little bit, but sort of more specifically.
Anyone? I mean, I worked for London 2012, so I have opinions about esports, and now I work for esports, but I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I think esports is the future of how young kids are consuming sport and entertainment. I don't think it would be a mistake from IOC, but I think the IOC values are very different and encourage a completely different message to that of esports. It's about inclusion, it's about participation, it's about, not always, well, it is active, it's sport. I don't know if it translates the same, but I definitely think there is a scope for something.
And there's one thing, there's a publisher. So you play in a game that somebody owns. So in the Olympic Games, you normally play, nobody owns the rest of the sport. You have to reach an agreement with somebody to play their game in the Olympics. So this is the side I don't see. It's
like playing Monopoly.
Yeah.
And asking the owners of Monopoly, can we, make your game an Olympic sport? Like, it's really difficult, and knowing IOC, it's not as plain as maybe the concept. But I do think there's a balance there. There is something there that could happen, because the reality is the way the kids consume sport and entertainment now is digital. So they need to figure out a way to adapt to that new audience. What it is, who knows? Anyone else with a question? Oh, okay.
Hello, my name is Sharif. My question is to Colin. I've got two questions. So initially you said that clubs are not using the right strategy, in your opinion, to recruit esports players. So what would you recommend as the right strategy? And then my second question is that within your organization, what's the perception of esports, or specifically FIFA, in the African continent?
Okay. It's actually funny because regarding your second question, we actually went down to South Africa this summer to compete in a tournament. So we kind of got to see kind of the South African esports scene, and it was really interesting. I feel like they're trying to embrace it in a really new way, and there are companies down there, especially, that are willing to put money into the esport. VS Gaming is a company that I think, if they put their money in the right places when it comes to the production side and getting the game out there, when it comes to the African fan base, they can do some really cool stuff. Outside of South Africa, I don't have a lot of experience in Africa, but they seem to be like really getting into it. And I think if they can continue the way that their trajectory is going with doing these different events and involving like the footballers, they had some of the South African national team players come down, and they were really engaging with like the fans and the pros, and like engaging with the game in general. So that was really cool to see. And then what's the first question?
How would you advise?
Oh,
you're
yeah,
saying
yeah,
they're
yeah. What was the
recruiting
best?
in the wrong way. They should
yeah.
hire you, right?
Yeah, exactly. Hire me, I'll find you a player. No, but the best practice, in my opinion, is to find someone who knows the scene. Because if you just go out there and you're like, oh, this guy won ESWC in 2014, that means nothing now, you know? Like, a guy could be a world champion last year, but that doesn't really mean a lot, because the game changes so much title to title that you need people that are worth investing in as human beings and as, you know, assets to your organization outside of just their competitive ability. Because the team I've put together, they're all really good players. There are probably players that we could have signed that were like 1 or 2% better, but these people I know we can work with and have the drive and have the hunger to be as good as they want to be. And as well, we've kind of like went with potential as well. So you can kind of maybe pick up a 24, 25-year-old guy that might be maybe 5% better than that 18-year-old. But that 18-year-old has a lot of years left, has a good 5 or 6 years, and depending on your scope as well, on how long you want to be in esports, it's something to consider. So if this is something that you think, oh, this is a 2-year activation, then you can go out and pick up the older guy that might only have a couple years left on his lifespan. But please, there's a couple of ways that I haven't seen it go as well, which is just doing a tournament and saying all of the people in our area come and compete and the winner gets to be our player. It's a very dangerous thing to do, because anyone can win that individual tournament, especially because the pool of players that you're pulling from is probably not going to be of the highest quality, and especially if you want to have your guy be at the top level, which is how you get the eyes on your player at the end of the day and on your brand. You need to get that top player. So talking to someone like me or a different esports organization that maybe already has those scouting lists laid out, that's probably the best way, is to go and talk to them and figure out who the best players actually are, and who the best players and people to invest in are. So.
Just to mention, Fnatic is obviously, we've been around for like 14 years. FIFA is a new title for us. We partnered with AS Roma, but we do speak to a number of sports organizations in the States, in China, here in the UK and across Europe. And as a successful organization, we do offer guidance. Our biggest mission is to grow the ecosystem. So if anyone ever did have any questions, do contact Fnatic. We're very, very open. We're based in Shoreditch. Come down, say hi. Just saying. Anyone else with a question before we finish up?
Hi, Kieran from XL eSports. I just want to kind of touch upon what Colin has just said there. And I obviously, as an owner of an esports organisation myself, agree with the method for a football club to talk to an esports organisation to then go into FIFA. But who I really want to ask a question to is Pablo, because you guys have kind of gone over from traditional sports into the esports arena. How did you guys make that transition? Was it organic? Did you have people in your organisation that knew about esports, or did you seek help from an esports organisation in Spain to do so?
Well, in our general manager is a eSport fan, so he knows about eSport as much as he knows about football, and then we had a small club in our city that we get, and then at the beginning we get the infrastructure for them, and then we grow, and then we contract people from outside, but it's almost the same that we open a baseball new section. It will be almost the similar mechanism. Yeah.
Hi there, my name's Robin from Crystal Palace Football Club. I know you touched on it, Colin, with AS Roma and how there's only one Italian player playing for them. In an ideal world, though, would you have that player from that local area, or with some sort of connection with that football club, or is it really just about finding that best player?
In an ideal world, it would be nice if our player grew up a Roma fan and, had always been a Roma fan, but we're pretty transparent about the fact that, he loves the club and, he really enjoys playing for the club, but I don't think it's absolutely necessary in the same way that, the guys, when they play competitively, when they play with their ultimate teams, they don't play with the AS Roma team, in the same way that if there was a Palace player, they wouldn't play with the Palace team, just because that doesn't put them in the best situation to then go and win those tournaments. Because when they go to a tournament, they're using Ronaldo, they're using Messi, they're using, Pogba, they're using Hullet, legends and people like that. So, yeah, I think in an ideal world, it would be nice because there are some esports organizations, some football clubs that have some great players from their areas, but to actually know that they exist is a very tough ask for clubs. And if you want me to hook you up with a London-based player, let me know, and I'll let you know who's good in the area. But no, it would be nice, but yeah, I would just say primarily go for the best player, because I think you can, especially if it's an open-minded esports player, and a lot of these guys are young, and a lot of them don't have teams in general, are willing to embrace a new club and embrace the culture. And I think just from speaking to them as well, just speak to the players, because I think you'll get a good idea in the same way of when you talk to a footballer, if their attitude and the way they handle themselves, and on social media especially, like if that gels with the way that you want your club presented. So.
Okay, that's all the time we have.
May I say something?
Oh.
It's like a strange question, in fact, because your organization, when dealing with physical football, they won't pick London players only, but they will bring the best people available. So why don't you mimic the football side? I guess the best way, the best practice for eSport now is to mimic the good practice of every sport you can find. Maiden is a good game, but if you can't mimic the way the super organized franchise do, don't do it. I mean, you're the best among the best of your domain. Be the best of your domain in the eSport too.
Yeah.
Choose to be the best ones.
I would just say, like, get someone in your country is what I'm saying. Like, pick up a UK player,
Yeah.
because you need someone that can travel that doesn't
but if
cost
you can
like
get
$1,000. Well,
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah.
You
But
get Neymar if you can get Neymar.
exactly.
Yeah.
Or if you want, you can like. I think it's important to have someone there though. That'd
Yeah,
be, like for
definitely
us,
have
having an
that.
Italian player is very important,
Yeah.
because then he can engage in the language. Because
Yeah.
if we had someone that couldn't even communicate with the fans, it would look a little bad. So if you went out and signed a player from Spain that couldn't speak English and that was your only player, then yeah, that wouldn't look great. So yeah, just get a player that's in your country.
You don't want a Bartley situation
Yeah.
at the press conference.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's all the time we have. Thanks so much for coming, and obviously we're around, so if you have any questions afterwards, do please get in touch. Thanks.
Yeah.